Hello, Dr. Laitman. We are on our writers' meeting, and we wanted to talk to you about several current themes. And let's start with Chaim Ratz. So actually the questions are related to what's happening between countries right now. There's something that seems like a war of masks. The Czech Republic is stealing masks that are supposed to reach Italy. Turkey is taking masks that Spain ordered from China. The United States is hacking orders by Germany and other places, and so on. So in this state where countries care only for themselves and really, do you see any danger of violence exploding between countries around these struggles? Look, I'm not dealing with relations between countries or diplomacy or nothing. That is how they behave. Well, it's obvious that it only works in the direction of bad things. This is also clear. I'm afraid that we are giving the virus the ability to come closer and closer to us. That we're going to start with domestic animals and mice and bees and flies and the smallest bugs and everything that we have in the air. We can catch this virus from anything. And it all depends on when will we stop using our ego and stop developing it. Therefore, anyone who thinks that he will steal 1 million masks or an airplane that's intended for someone else, then for sure, in the back door, through the back door, he's bringing upon himself much greater problems. And we have to stop ourselves from using our ego in such a wild way. Now, what will come as a result, I don't think that there are going to be wars, because the problem that we're facing is very serious. So as always, because of our ego, we are going to have to pay for it with our life. A few more millions will have to die. This matter is not over. I talked about this from the beginning of the development of the matter, because we have made room for the genie to come out of the bottle. And that's it. It's starting to spread. There's nothing that you can do. Only now it depends on the measure to which accordingly we'll say, okay, enough, we get it. We're correcting things. Wait a moment. For things to be right, correct, true. And this is how we're going to behave. Or not. Or we don't care. What happens, happens. And then we'll pay dearly and immediately. Immediately. This is what I want to say. This virus will not will not give us any rest. And the main thing is that now we can really somehow protect ourselves in a closed room with masks, something, washing our hands, different stuff. But we can reach a state where it will not be enough at all, completely insufficient. Because maybe it's simply going to be in the air. What are you going to do? And no mask, no filter will stop it. And you can't escape to any place in the world. If this is how we continue using our ego, then we are forcing it to become tougher. The thing is that when we convey our message to people, then our message always talks about communities and societies and up to the size of a country. And here we see the falling apart of the international community. No UN, no nothing to organize it. So how do we cause the correct action, neutralizing the ego, evening it out, balancing it out? Because there can be a catastrophe here, like you say. To simply rationally do it. Suppose there is some kind of virus that's hanging in the air. And in the air, it's not above one country and above another country. There's different air. It comes and goes as it pleases. And therefore, people will have to change their behavior. I'm saying that there are big problems ahead. That until we will understand that only by agreeing with everyone to stop our ego, this is called stopping the virus. Between everyone, you mean also between the countries themselves? Of course. If it reaches China, and you have it in Italy and France and in all countries, so how else? You have in the ocean tiny islands where suddenly there's the virus. The virus appears there, and there was no connection between them. There was no one to pass it from place to place. And even birds can pass it on, but birds can't even make it there. I'm telling you, it simply exists in nature, and it appears from nothing to existence. We say that the world is headed toward connection because this is the purpose of creation, toward an ever-growing connection. The only problem is that we resist this connection. So what does it mean that the world is headed toward connection? That nature, that creation is headed toward connection. This is the direction of development. Well, therefore, we feel that it forces us. Now, the corona causes the dismantling of globalization and connection and passing into... it's like Israel is creating breathing machines for itself and, not giving it to other countries, but all countries are doing the same. But why is this anti-globalization process happening? Continue. Exactly. This is the right direction. That separate the wicked, it's good for them and good for the world. Egoists, it's good that they... it's better for them not to be together. When they want to do good to each other, then to the measure of good they can cause to each other, you can connect them. And of course, the very first action of the force of correction is to separate egoists. What do you do with your kids that fight all the time? You separate them. Someone comes and says, but they're brothers, how do you do it? Yeah, according to their actions. Meaning this is the act of correction done by the virus that first of all closes us at home. Said, good, this is your prison, you deserve to sit here. And now what? How do we build a correct globalization? A correct connection in a state where every country is grabbing what it can for itself and there's no collective leadership. So this prison will not come to an end until people will get a new understanding, reasoning, will study what should be done on part of nature in order to adapt themselves to the integral nature, so humanity will also become integral like in nature. Also the still, the vegetative, the animate, for it to be like nature too, then things are going to be fine. Otherwise, they're not. Sounds like way of suffering. No, it all depends on our attitude toward it. But if I'm telling you that nature has a plan of bringing us to a certain form, then it already comes forcefully. Now, if it'll be will it be suffering or through suffering or in a good and nice way, it all depends on how you accept it. There are kids that go to school and they cry and they don't wanna and they curse school. And there are those that go gladly, willingly, happily. It all depends on how you see things. In order for them to accept it, countries have to know this, to accept it. This already depends on all of you. That we understand that there are a few, that there are many people that have grown in the past 10, 20, 30 years that can, you guys, you the students, that can tell the world what is nature leading us to. When Trump came to power, you said that it's good that he's going backwards, retreating from all the global agreements, and now he's separating, and now there's need to build it anew. That as if he's going against the New World Order. Because globalization wasn't good. Do you see the continuity of the same process that nature is forcing us to? Nothing good will come out of these egoists. Nothing. You can say that somehow these things happen, but until they accept our plan, nothing will help them. They will always be at loss. One or another kind of virus will come, doesn't matter. But what will happen nonetheless in such a way that these blows that will now come to humanity, they will drain all of humanity, and humanity will have nothing left besides basic needs. And it's going to happen in a way that nature will force it. It's going to be something, and the way of suffering is a way of suffering. And if we understand that it's not supposed to be this way, but that everything depends only on the good relations between us, then we can come down from all of these levels to lower levels and better levels. We see that the virus, the coronavirus, doesn't differentiate between people, that that's how nature works. That it harms everyone equally. But people do differentiate, and suddenly we see that unfounded hatred is being revealed, at least here in Israel. Everyone's blaming everyone, different sectors, that because of them we have these viruses. How do we keep everyone connected? That's impossible. What do you want from egoists? That barely in their normal life, if you can call it the life that we had normal, that barely kept themselves from eating each other. So now it's possible that we will reach a state, like it says, that merciful women eat their children. What's happening now is nothing. Everyone at least has some food. Can come, get something from the supermarket, from here to there. But wait, everything's still up ahead. according to the measure to which we will publicize this, they will accept the publicity, will want to understand it, will want to join it. If not, then there will be a life of atrocity. So blows have to come, or further viruses or problems, in order to open the ear and listen. Can't we cure rather than... This is your dissemination. This is the cure. The dissemination that the Bnei Baruch does. Seismologists say that Earth came down after people stopped working and everything. Suddenly we see all of nature restoring itself. Wild animals in London, even animals that were extinct, you can see them anew in India and other places. What's the use that nature is restoring itself, that there are wild animals among us? Turns out that Greta, the queen of the eco-crisis, is right about what she says. You have to sit quietly, do nothing, and get a good, nice green nature. Look, I don't know what she said, the poor girl. But I think that, of course, our nature is entirely integral. And the still vegetative and animate, they're all related to one nature. You can't divide the levels of nature, the parts of nature, and if we stop littering nature, then of course we will feel that nature is calming down on different levels too. And it's not a problem. The earth, sun, the universe, how we, human beings, are very small in terms of the universe, but very powerful in terms of our desire and thought. And therefore we influence the entire system of nature. Also in the upper worlds, not even mentioning them, in a way that all the rest of the levels of nature depend on us. And sure, we can either draw big problems or vice versa. It all depends on us. So here it's not exactly clear, because on the one hand, everyone goes into quarantine and we make room for animals, or it depends on our thoughts. This I don't understand. Our behavior on all levels. Mechanically on the still vegetative and animate, and also in the form of thoughts on the human level. And all of these influences on nature, we influence things in such a way that animals awaken and fish, and the planet calms down. I never heard birds through my window. I'm starting to hear them. About the changes we see in relation to the virus. Yesterday, it turned out that in Bronx, New York, they discovered the coronavirus in a tiger. So what does it show? That now we see that it's revealed also in animals, as if on a lower level in nature. Is there an escalation here? Undoubtedly, this virus and the other viruses are ready in nature to attack different forms of the still, vegetative, animate, and people, and it's especially directed at people because only man can change the entire balance and to benefit nature, and therefore it's no wonder that we have discovered this in Tiger in the Bronx. It'll become ever more revealed. Again, I'm telling you, the flies on our table, and mosquitoes in the room, and some mouse that's maybe someplace under the floor. They all bear terrible, terrible germs that we have no idea where we are yet. And in general, our air is also full of germs, microbes that can be very destructive. And therefore, we have to understand that we have caused nature to be so hostile toward us. And only we, human beings, can save ourselves and all of nature and the still, vegetative, the animate, and people. Let's do it, and we will return to a planet which is heaven. Seriously, heaven. Everything's blooming, good, nice, all the plastic disappears. Everything's really... Where is it disappearing? Where is it vanishing to? Nature processes it. We can do that. Only with the help of our thought. Through our relationships. What thought? A thought about connection. That we are in an integral mechanism, and if we, on the level of human beings, create good relations between us as one man and one heart, and it's not easy, we have to learn how to do it, but by that we immediately influence all the lower levels of nature, the still, vegetative, and animate. So we have to learn how to think. It's not the natural kind of thought that I have, because the thoughts follow the hearts, and also the actions, and also then all of nature and our planet and everything is drawn to a good and nice connection. We're approaching the Seder Eve, the Passover Eve. And how can we take this entire process that we're going through? What is the right inner? What do we have to correctly internally do in order to advance toward what you're talking about? I want to come out of Egypt. I'm still in Egypt. The Seder Pesach comes before the exodus from Egypt. That, like it says, that it's for the future, for the sake of the future redemption, and therefore I really hope that through the Passover Eve that is coming our way, Wednesday, right? That we will sit and all of us together in one heart, all around the world, with our friends in all countries, all nations, doesn't matter, that we will celebrate our exodus from the ego, that for sure, and I'm telling you that if we will try to some extent to rise above our ego, then it will really be a savior and great hope and change for all of mankind. Because what happens in the head later spreads to the body, to the measure to which we, the little ones, are getting there. In humanity, it will happen on a very large scale. So it all depends on how we, first of all, Bnei Baruch, connect between us and our desire, in our thought, to rise above our ego, to come out of it toward the good that does good. This on the level of Bnei Baruch that are engaged in Kabbalah on a daily basis. People that are not engaged in Kabbalah and above the ego doesn't really say anything to them. Something internal they can do in order to use this time in the most beneficial way. Very simple. They have to know that their connection, simple connection, egoistic connection, that the connection between them really helps to be saved from all the problems. Connection with the husband, the family, the broader the better. But first of all, you start with children, the neighbors, everything.
We
see that now there is a direction where communities are getting together, people sing together on their porches. In short, the value of the community is growing. Is it a change in perception? Will this be the next trend, or is it temporary? Once we go back to the ordinary day-to-day life, this will pass. There's nothing about it besides a bit of, self-entertainment. But that's it. There's no other intention. Pride raising importance, this, that. This is what the Spanish do. This is what the Italians do. I don't see anything about it. You can say that about some tribe in Africa that dance and sing around the fire.
נורמה, משבט המומבו יומבו.
שאלה, מה השתנה הפסח הזה?
What changed this Passover? What changed this Passover is vast. Because when we're going to sit this on Passover Eve, and let's hope that we'll see each other through the internet, then first of all, we will see each other through the internet. That's one thing. Another thing is that by that, we will really want to come out of our ego more than the ordinary. It was always somehow, but was like a kind of custom for us. Maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. Nice or not. Now it's more essential, necessary. And this time we would really like to rise above our situation, because really enough already. We see how much we can cause ourselves, in the meantime, unpleasant things, but it's still not that bad. But on the way, again, I'm telling you, not only this virus, but many, many problems that are standing in line. So, we have to publicize that as well, that everything depends on our dissemination. Well, what you're saying is frightening, that there are other viruses and blows and problems on the way. Wait a moment, 2 weeks or a month ago, you didn't hear that some animal in the zoo has a virus too. You didn't hear about this. No. Tomorrow you'll discover that the cat in your that lives downstairs has it. Is it better? You'll feel that you can't move, that you have to make some kind of cleansing and get yourself into some kind of armor. Is that better? And this won't end. It won't. Like Bala Sulam writes, like Kabbalists write, everyone can die. If one person remains, it's enough for Gmar Tikkun. Finally, we have to understand where the problem really is. The problem is only about us, about man that's bearing the ego inside of him. Are people more ready to come out of Egypt than last year? Of course. But more. It doesn't mean that we're ready. I don't identify the ego yet. Where is it exactly? Where it's standing before me?
כולם יוצאים ממצרים?
Will everyone come out of Egypt? Yes. Those that don't feel the ego either? Everyone, including everyone. There is no such thing that a person doesn't feel his ego. Like we see according to the Egyptian story, babies, this, that, everyone, including everyone. Including the still vegetative inanimate that is included in the speaking. This plague, the corona, is it one of the Egyptian blows for humanity? I don't think that it is a plague. We're not really getting it as an Egyptian plague. The Egyptian plague is a blow that helps you come out of your ego. Our time's up. So thank you very much, and we wish you and everyone a happy holiday. Amen. Thank you, everyone, and see you on Wednesday on our next talk. But if you want, I'll be happy.
בהצלחה לכולם. ביי.